Coming up on the Rommel Anakin Show. If you want to have a great life, friend, you got to have great relationships. But that's easier said than done, isn't it? 50% of all marriages end in divorce. 67% of second marriages end in divorce. 73% of third marriages are dissolved. Doesn't get better at work either. 57% of employees who leave their jobs do so because of their bosses. Guys, I can go on and on and on and on about the importance of relationships and how, if you want to have a great life, you must have great relationships. So, in this episode, here's what we're going to do. We're going to unlock what I call the connection code and demystify the secrets of meaningful communication in your life so that you can create deeper bonds with the people in your life so that you can live a better life. If you want a better life, you're in the right place today. Hey, Glenn, strike up the band. Yes, love it. Welcome to the Rommel Anakin Show. I am Rommel Anakin. So glad that you are here. This podcast exists to help you have the kind of relationships that make your life better. So this has been my life's work as a professional speaker, as a consultant, as a coach, and as a pastor for the past 13 years. And quite frankly, this idea of helping people win with people has been a passion, maybe even an obsession of mine for over 20 years. And I want to help you have the kind of relationships that make your life better, whether it's a marriage, whether it's your family, whether it's sibling, whether it's friendship or work or as a leader, all of that stuff. We want to help you make your life better. And all of those relationships in your life, if you want them better, they are fueled by connection. Connection is the transportation to great relationships. And as I share in my communication talks and in my Marriages That Connect program that I do with my wife, Casey, we are all wired for connection. And you and me and all the people in your life, you're hardwired to want to connect with one another, right? We need each other. We were meant to be in community. We were meant to be connected. We were designed we're relational beings to the core. So, of course, we all want to feel that connection. Now, in its simplest form, as I often say in my talks and in our programs, connection happens when someone feels seen, when they feel heard, when they feel valued, when they feel cared for, when they feel like they belong. It happens a lot like this when someone, maybe you're talking to someone and that person looks at you and says, "You so get me," okay? Or, "Hey, you are my people, right? You speak my language." If anyone said like anything like that to you, that's their sign that they're feeling connected to you. We feel connected when we feel like we belong, right? We feel connected when we feel like someone gets us, when we feel like we belong, when we feel like we can be ourselves, when we feel like we're home. And feeling connected to someone, it makes us feel like we matter to someone else. And when we feel like we matter, when we feel like we belong, it's like oxygen to us, right? So all of us long for connection, which is why when we don't feel connected, it truly affects you to the core. When you've been ignored, when you've been overlooked, when you've been slighted, when someone embarrasses you, when someone shames you, when someone doesn't listen to you, it affects you, right? It affects you. And you know what I mean, right? When you haven't been invited to the party and everyone else got invited, or you're at that networking event and everyone else is talking to someone and you're not, or church is just wrapped up and you're just wandering around aimlessly because no one's saying hi to you. Right? We've all been there. We have all been there. And so you know what it's like not to feel connected, which means you know what it's like for other people not to feel connected. Okay. So I want you to understand this. Every person in your life, like even right now, I want you to pause and just think about who the significant people are in your life. Who are the top 5 people in your life? Is it your husband? Is it your kids? Is it, your parents? Like who are the people in that core group, the most significant relationships in your life? All of those people want to feel connected to you. And here's the thing, that doesn't just stop with the key people in your life. The next time you get coffee, the barista behind the counter wants to feel that connection. The next time you go into a store, that salesperson that's being kind of obnoxious to you or pushy, well, even that person wants to be connected. If the next time you're at a work meeting and that guy hijacks the meeting and starts talking, 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 well, the reason that person is talking, 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 because that person wants to feel connection. Now, the problem is that person is doing it in a way that makes everyone not want to listen to that person. That's for a whole different other thing. But we all want connection. So I want you to think about that. Everyone in your life wants to feel connected. They want to feel that connection. They want to feel like they matter. So when we talk about decoding connection again, it really comes down to helping the people in your life feel like that they matter to you. And did you catch that? It's to helping them feel like they matter to you. It's not enough that they matter to you. They also have to know it. They've got to feel it. They have to be able to know that to be true. Now, how do you help someone feel connected to you? It's through communication. So if connection is the transportation to great relationships, communication is the transportation to great connection. Therefore, the key to having great relationships is being able to communicate with the people in your life in ways that create connection and not disconnection. The problem is this. Oh man, it's a problem. We all feel connection in different ways. We all communicate in different ways. We all have different personalities, different styles, different things we like, different things that tick us off, different things that we gravitate to, different things that repel us. We're all different and we feel connection and in different ways. And we all communicate in different ways. And the issue is this: when our different ways run into each other, that's when we run into communication problems, right? So when someone's communicating in the way that feels natural to them, and the other person's looking at them like, why are you doing that? Why are you talking so loud? Or why are you talking at all? Why are you being funny when this is not a situation that needs funny? Or why are you being so bossy when you don't need to be bossy? Or why aren't you saying anything? We're here to meet for coffee. Why aren't you sharing? You see what I'm saying? All of those things. And so when we run into those communication problems, because we're different, that's when we start to feel disconnected with one another. So what I'm going to do is to share with you some simple yet often overlooked communication strategies that will help you develop deeper bonds with the people in your life. We're going to give you some great strategies that are going to help you communicate better so that you can connect better, so that you can have the kind of relationships that make your life even better. And all of that is coming up right after, you got it, the coffee break. Indeed, it is coffee break time. And if you're watching the show for the first time, we usually do a break together right in the middle of an episode. So I invite you to join me, grab whatever beverage you've got, and let's have a break together. Now, this is a coffee break with a twist because I'm actually not having coffee today as we record this episode because I've already had quite a bit of coffee today. But what sounded really good was a little bit of root beer. So I've got Zevia's creamy root beer here. And a few years ago now, I started drinking a little bit more of this as I wanted soda without the sugar and without all the artificially chemicals and without all the stuff. And so Zevia's creamy root beer is my beverage on the break today. If you're watching this on the YouTube, drop in the comments. Let me know what you are having as a part of this break, and or shoot me a DM. Find me on Instagram at Rommel Anakin. Let me know. So before we move on, I'm going to have just a sip of this creamy root beer by Zevia. And no, Zevia did not sponsor this. I wish, but Zevia, if you want to. So let's try this. Zevia's creamy root beer. Yeah, I mean that's good. And that is zero sugar. I think they use stevia to sweeten it, which is what I use in my coffee. So I'm already used to having stevia as the sweetener. But again, Zevia's creamy root beer, today's coffee break beverage of the day. One more sip. Oh yeah, that's good. That is good. All right, so now that I am feeling refreshed, before the break, we talked about the big ideas that we all want to feel connected, and that communication is the way that we feel connected and help others feel connected, right? So if you want to have great relationships in your life, you've got to be able to communicate in a way that creates and maintains connection with the people in your life. So in this segment of the show, I want to give you some practical ideas that will help you, again, demystify communication to help you create deeper bonds and better bonds with the people in your life. So let's take a look at this. All right. So here's a few big ideas I think are going to help you communicate so that you can create the kind of connection you want in your life. And so the first one, again, is this: I just really want the idea of creating connection to be a part of your interpretive grid, to be a part of your relational toolbox, that wherever you go, you are always trying to create connection. That if you can deeply understand that everyone in your life craves connection and that your goal is to help people feel connected, right? Because remember, you are either creating connection or you are creating disconnection. Let me say that again. You're either creating connection or you're creating disconnection. And let me just tell you, connection works a whole lot better than disconnection. So the first big idea, again, is just to be aware that you must create connection, which means you want to communicate in ways that creates connection. The second big idea is really this: it's catch a clue. So when you are communicating to someone, whether you're talking to your spouse, you're talking to your kids, you're talking to your boss, or you're talking to a coworker, you're talking to that barista at the coffee shop, you're talking to the person in line at the grocery store, you want to catch a clue. And the big mistake that so many people make in their communication is they have no clue. They have no clue. How many times have you talked to someone who was completely unaware that you didn't care? Right? They just started talking to you out of nowhere, and they had no clue that you didn't care. I remember once being on an airplane, right? And I'm an introvert. And so when I'm on an airplane, in fact, I'll wear these headphones. I'll have a book. I really kind of enjoy the time on an airplane where I get to just tune everything else out and just read a book or watch Hallmark movies or just journal or something. But I love that time. As an introvert, I love my travel time. And I remember not all that long ago sitting next to someone on the plane who kept talking and kept talking and kept talking. And I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying to be, and I liked some of the conversation, I'll be honest with you. And then there was another part of me that was going, okay, I am ready for this to be over. Like I'm ready to be able to put on my headphones. And as I was trying to, show the signs that I was ready to stop that conversation, and that person wasn't picking up the signs. Now, I'll take responsibility for the fact that I could have just easily said, "Hey, it's been really nice to chat with you. I've got to do a little bit of work now." And I could have been much more assertive, and it's one of my growth opportunities. But that person also wasn't catching the clue that I was ready not to have that conversation, right? How many of you can relate to that? So it's important to catch the clue. So when you're talking to someone, what signs are they giving you, right? Are they looking at you like this, going, I love this conversation. This conversation is amazing. It's awesome. It's good. It's feeling great. This is mutually beneficial. Like I'm giving and I'm receiving. Like this is good. Or are they giving you this sign? Like, I don't like it. Right? Or I'm bored, or I'm sad, or I'm disinterested, or I'm checking out. Like, what are the clues that people are giving to you? So you've got to be a clue inspector. You've got to be dialed into what people's body language is telling you, what their eyes are telling you, what their words are telling you, and and catch the clue. And here's the hard part. Because you are wired for connection, just like I am, when someone shows us signs that they're not interested in what we're saying, that they're checking out, that they are tuning us out, that they're bored, man, our defenses go up and we actually get mad at that person for being bored. We get mad at that person for not paying attention to us, even if we've just completely bored them out of their mind. Instead of us going, huh, I wonder if I was been a little too boring. We get mad at them for being bored. We don't get, I would say, mad at ourselves for boring someone else to tears, right? So effective communication requires you to catch the clue. Just pay attention to what people are telling you. Are they all in? Are they all out? Okay, so be aware of what other people are communicating to you, both through their words, their body language, and their expressions. And then with that, here's two big ideas that I think are going to really be helpful. Do what works. So when you're communicating with someone, especially someone you know well, you've probably figured out, right? There are certain ways or certain things you can phrase something or you can say something that make it much more likely for that conversation to be effective and great and just good, right? Well, do those things that work. So do what works. And so if someone's giving you, and I'll show you that slide from before, if someone is giving you this sign, that's your sign. You're moving in the right direction. Like this is good. Keep doing that. And then over the course of someone's relationship with you, as you compile data and figure out when I communicate in this way, that tends to work better. That makes a person more likely to want to speak to me or more likely to grant that request or more likely to want to spend even more time with me. Well, do those things, right? So when you think about a relationship and you think whether it's again a marriage, it's a family, it's a coworker thing, just go, hey, what are the things that I do that tend to get positive reactions, right? Let me gravitate and do that, right? What are the things that other people do that tend to make it more positive? Hey, let's try to keep that going. Let's try to do what works, right? So when the door's open, keep walking in through the door. Now, here's the flip side of that. If it doesn't work, stop doing it. Right? If it doesn't work, stop doing it. If what you're doing isn't working, stop. If they're bored, stop. If that person's not feeling like you're actually apologizing, stop. Do something different. If that person is not getting the message from you, then stop and do something different. And the problem that we run into in this is that when you get the clue from someone that what you're doing isn't working with them, again, instead of us changing our method, instead of us changing our approach or our tone of voice or the words that we use, we often double down on what we're doing because we're sitting there going, well, I don't like the fact that you're bored, so I'm going to keep doing this. I don't like the fact that I think I might have just offended you, so I'm going to keep doing that thing that just offended you because I don't think you should be offended. And then that cycle starts, the crazy cycle, the descent into chaos and just bad stuff, right? Disconnection happens. So If it doesn't work, stop doing it. Even if you think it should work. Even if you don't like the fact that your coworker is kind of sensitive. Okay. Even if you don't like the fact that your spouse needs this one thing from you, needs you to say it in a certain way, and you don't like it. So you know what I'm saying? Right. Do what works. And if it doesn't work, stop doing it. Oh my gosh, there's so much more we can dive into this idea of how to communicate so that we connect. If you've ever been in one of my communication programs or people skills programs or in the Marriages That Connect program that Casey and I do, a lot of these ideas will sound familiar. And you know that we go so deep into this. And so I wish we had more time here. However, I do believe that if you really embrace and take these big ideas to heart, number one, create connection. Number two, catch a clue. Be aware of what people are communicating to you by how you're communicating or what you're communicating. And then commit that you're going to do what works. And if what you're doing isn't working, stop doing it. I believe, friends, that if you just do these four simple yet often overlooked things in your communication with people, that you're actually going to be able to build and maintain healthy, beautiful, wonderful, and effective connection with the people in your life. So I'm curious, before we go, which one of these did you find most helpful for you? Which one of these did you find most helpful for you? If you're watching this on the YouTube, let me know in the comments which one you found most helpful. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, do me a favor, find me on Instagram at Rommel Anakin, shoot me a DM. Let me know which one of these you found most helpful from our time together today. And before we go, I would love to say a blessing over you. And as I always say, if you share my faith, amen and amen. And even if you don't, I hope you're able to receive this as a blessing today. My friends, may the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. This is the Rommel Anakin Show, and we'll see you next time.